And welcome back to another video. This is more or less a story which is from Italy, which occurred a few days ago in a town in the region of Veneto. Senator Grisanti, during the early hours of a certain morning, not precise, don't remember the date, in his premises, which has a swimming pool, written on the pavements, criminals and other offensive graffiti against him and against his profession before he became Senator of the Republic of Italy. He was a doctor, he was a specialist. He probably worked in a university, or probably was one of those specialists for the hospital. And this group of people accused him of killing people with a so-called miracle substance. Yes, we're going back to the dreaded years of the terrible virus, lockdowns, mandatory jibby jabbies left, right and centre, up the what's it side as well. Yes, this geezer was a group of ministerial specialists on the virus committee during the so-called phantomatic pantomime. Grisanti, Burione e Bassetti. They're the three names which were fear-mongering at that time on television. If you don't take this substance, you could die or you could kill someone without knowing. And basically all this stuff was based on thin air at the end. Non-scientific evidence or research into this thing. Remember, you had to wear those nappies over your face. In the end, you didn't have to wear that thing. And now Senator Grisanti is fearing for his life, because the Digos, the old Bill, the political police here in Italy, and he is investigating into these things because seen as a politician, and it's an institutional duty to do so, and whether they're going to give him the arm escort, bodyguards and that stuff. In my modest opinion, these politicians do not merit taking police officers off the street to protect these corrupt scumbags. Because remember, there was an article which came out on the newspapers. These people, they took money from those pharmaceutical companies which produce this so-called miracle substance, believe it or not. So therefore, they were bribed and paid off, and say what they had to say. Because like this increased the sales by the government of this so-called jibby jab. But most of it, as a result, they had to throw it away, because when Pam Demir lost its so-called contagions, just like all other type of viruses, they just wear out and disappear. They usually have waves of these things, but they made a few mistakes which in medical textbooks, the first year if you study medicine, states you do not administrate this stuff on people during the pandemic. It's absolutely ridiculous. In fact, it was an experimental drug anyway. And us, when used as guinea pigs for such things. And these so-called pharmaceutical companies, they made money upon the population. And, you know, from them to government officials, they lied about it. We were told lies. Because all in interest to follow a narrative, all interest for these big corporations, big pharma and things to make money. Because probably there would have been a more economical therapy, which I can't mention on this video, which exists years and years, which some doctors had prescribed as therapy, and it works out to be absolutely it works on patients who had contracted this so-called you know what, and amazingly they were cured through this alternative therapy, which is a pharmaceutical which costs very little to produce. Why? We should ask ourselves. Each shot worth of pharmaceutical for this terrible disease would have cost around about 14 to 19 euro a shot. And when something which has been in, you know, probably for decades on the market, would have done the trick as well. Because it's all a question of money. To make money out of the suffering of people. This is all it has been. No one foresee see me going into other areas. It was a testing ground for something else. This will be another video.